Ready for the weekend, right? I worked 80 hours this week, and I could definitely use a happy hour right now. I just got a message on Teams, Microsoft Teams, telling me my manager said that I need to put some focus on these initiatives that are planned on the roadmap. But we'll be back at it Monday. In this video, we're going to be talking about corporate, the personalities that you find yourself in the workspace. And by the workspace, I mean your typical 9-to-5 white-collar job. A lot of the personalities that you would maybe find characterized in the sitcom The Office.
But you can't eat cats.
You kind of have to watch who you're interacting with to gauge what your response will be like. Much like in the sense of who you interact with in the workspace, so you don't upset anyone or, make yourself look like a freak. I'm not saying this is a new phenomenon in the sense that, like, oh, I can't be myself around everybody, and it's really hard because I can't handle pretending or portraying a different version of myself. When you're in the workplace, at least when you have a job of perceived integrity, you should act professional unless you get those renegade types that use swear words. But it's okay because they're really cool and they're hardworking. But now we've reached the singularity where these people that you interact with in the workspace kind of have this one-dimensional, this is how I act around everybody.
New friend green and a sneaky link. New friend green and a sneaky link.
People that you can't have an actual conversation with because their entire personality, their entire person is oriented around a personal objective or ideology that has consumed themselves, and now it's embedded into their entire code. I think one of the problems corporate culture creates is a lack of personal engagement. There's this sort of hokey go-abouting, if that's how you want to put it, where it doesn't feel like I'm interacting with real people, like I'm interfacing with someone, but I don't have the full picture of who they are. I mean, you can kind of guess the full picture of how they are just kind of based on on the surface of how they present themselves and the little bits of personal breadcrumbs that they leave. But even when you get these little moments to where, like, I'm just hanging out in the Zoom call, getting to know my guys, it doesn't feel like we're getting to the bottom of anything, and maybe it's not supposed to be. I mean, granted, I guess I don't want to get to the bottom of anything, but it feels very subhuman. There's this one plane that we're all interfacing on. I used this example in the last video, but I'm a foodie and like to travel. Is that all we are? Foodies that like to travel? First off, who doesn't like to travel? I mean, some people don't. And who doesn't like food? Jargon really gets me. I'm gonna put an image up on the screen that was present in my previous video. There's a dog barking. I hope it shut the fuck up. It lists a bunch of key phrases, jargon, that are used. Road mapping, opportunities for improvement. That's one that really gets me going. There's always going to be opportunities for improvement. And when is there a point to where we don't need opportunities for improvement? Why do we need to streamline everything and make everything efficient? That is not the way life is supposed to be. Humans are not efficient people. Another reason why I think there's this lack of personal engagement, I think there's a fear of, I think social media has done this a lot, to where we can't be our true selves out of fear of being fired, can't share our personal beliefs and opinions. You kind of just have to share the right ones. And this is what I mean by, like, code switching, gauging what other people think, because most likely people are just going to go with the flow or go with whatever the loudest person is saying. If you're loud or really stubborn in your ideas, most people are just going to kind of follow that because they don't want to create friction. This is a big one. that I think has become especially prevalent within the last decade or two. Social media has kind of exacerbated this, where you're being told that you mean something, while in reality, you are a disposable entity. You are just a number. You are just a name that is interchangeable with anybody else in the workspace. We are told we are these big happy families. We are given this notion of the warm and fuzzies, but in reality, if you do or say something wrong, you are going to be drop kicked. Fake sense of purpose. I think that's just something that really holds true to those people where they're really career driven. They have a dog and maybe a husband or wife that they kind of are lukewarm to, but what their thing is their career, which is probably one of the most morbid and depressing things about a person. If their 9 to 5 is their life, their career is what really gets them out of bed, and they really feel a sense of purpose out of it, because for the reason I stated previously, you are a disposable entity. You are not special in the sense to these higher ups who also are really career-driven people and share the same personalities. I feel like a lot of the time, especially me personally, having this experience, it feels like I'm in a coliseum with hundreds of people hyped up, foaming out the mouth for new opportunities for improvement, certain aspects or idea of formulating game theorying on how good of a job the company's doing. The performance of the company is everything, and I'll give people this. I think it's really easy to buy into, especially if you're a career-focused person. This is the purpose of your life. And I don't mean career where it's like, obviously if something's your personal passion, go for it. I'm not telling you to ignore your passion. If your passion is working, making a name of yourself in the given field that you've selected yourself into, you know, hey, you go, girl. But I think there's more at the table to be had, if that makes sense. I think these ideas are really easy to buy into, especially the kind of already given path that most people have today, where you go to school, high school, graduate, go to college, get a 4-year degree, get an internship, get a job that you'll work at for maybe 7 to 10 years, move somewhere else and kind of hop around. And I think that really only works if your only goal is to make enough to start a family, and you have a wife and children, and you're able to support yourself, and like you're a real family oriented person, and you have your little side things that you really love doing, and you know, that's all cool and dandy. If all you have is a 1-bedroom apartment, you have a cat or a dog, and the only thing is your career and happy hour and getting drinks with friends, that's not gonna last. What are you gonna be 40 and can keep doing that? I think when you're in that case, you're either lying to yourself or you believe that this is the goal. I guess I'm trying to figure out what I'm asking here. I don't think we all need to be real. You know, everything has to be a super deep conversation, which is fucking stupid. Not everything has to be, you know, Lex Friedman, the Temple of Inquiry, finding out the meaning of love and life. But also not everything has to be the epic show that I'm watching. Is that all your life is just going to work and watching a show? That sounds insane. Especially if like in your 20s and 30s. I don't know, I think there needs to be a middle ground, and I think there's we're at these crazy extremes in terms of personalities where it's like binary to a degree. You're either a 1 or a 0, and the zeros are 0 and the 1s are like, it's a little too much. And I'm not saying this is everybody, but specifically in this like corporate workspace. But it's a hard subject because because not everyone is the same. I don't know, I find it hard to interact with people sometimes, and maybe that's just a me thing. And maybe this whole video is just a me thing. If y'all relate, fucking type in the comments, Because now that I'm like at the very end of this, I don't know if I'm making any sense.